travelling through the faraway towns. Now war is declared and battle come down.
Welcome along to London Calling. We'll be looking back over the course of the next hour on that disappointing but encouraging defeat at Chelsea and ahead to the arrival of Manchester City here at Loftus Road this coming Saturday. And I'm also delighted to say we're joined right here in the studio by this man.
Nice. Oh, it's a goal, a great goal! Rodney Marsh has scored! Oh, what a goal!
Well, Rodney, thanks very much for joining us. I can't imagine how many times I've seen that, so God knows how many times you've seen it. Still nice to see, though.
Yeah, special. It's a very special time, and special time for me, special time for the club, and a great day.
Isn't it one of those goals that, we look at Bobby Zamora's goal over and over and over again, and that goal that you scored then is one of those, and if we'd had the internet in those days, I think people would have been watching it daily.
I think the problem with the goal is, as I watch it over the years, it gets slower and slower. At one point, the ball's actually not going to go over the line; it's going to stop short. Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us. Just to point out, you may notice that it's not quite live this week. This is a pre-record owing to the club's involvement in the Football Business Awards on Thursday evening, so a slight change in plan to the norm, but like I say, delighted to be joined here by Rodney Marsh. And the topic of debate, which we've been using all through this week for Ars fans to get involved in, after 3 improved displays, describe your current mood towards QPR in 3 words. And we've had loads of Ars fans get in touch with us, so we'll be going through those very, very shortly. Rodney, what would you say so far? I know you catch a lot of the games, even when you're back in Florida.
Yeah, sure.
What's your mood on the way things are going for QPR? It started a little bit rocky,
wonky,
but recent weeks there's been encouragement.
It has, and I would use 2 words. I would say that I'm cautiously optimistic. I look at the positives, and taking the positives in the last few games. Number one's got to be Charlie Austin, who continues to score goals at the now in the top level. How long before? I was talking to Ian and having a chat before we came on air, and if he could get a couple of goals against the top team, how long before he keeps being overlooked? And I for one think he's in with a real chance of being in a England squad not too far in the future.
I'm sure we'll touch on Charlie later. God, I tell you what, this
It's like
sun's
sunshine,
coming.
isn't it?
There's a halo around my head.
It's 7 o'clock at night on a Thursday in the winter.
I'm sure we'll touch on it later, but you believe that he's good enough at the moment to... We talked about Lambert earlier, didn't we? And you believe he's a better option than Ricky Lambert?
I do. When you look at football and you look at the big picture of football, when you look at some of the players that have been given a chance for England over the last 3 or 4 years up front, we go back as far as Peter Crouch was playing for England, wasn't he, until a few years ago. So, not the greatest player in the world, people might say, but he got his chance, and there's no reason. Ricky Lambert's had his chance. There have been others. There's no reason why Charlie shouldn't get a chance.
What would you say to people who have said, well, hang on, he's only played 9 games in the top flight?
I would say Ricky Lambert's in the squad, and he's played about 20 minutes this season.
Yeah.
So, I think that's a pretty good argument.
And I think he's always said, isn't he, Roy Hodgson, that you really need need to be playing to be involved in his squad. So.
Yeah,
but Charlie's doing what he's meant to be doing. He's
5
scoring
and 9.
goals.
Well,
5 and 9.
I think it's because I'm going to get slaughtered for this. I think it's because he played for Burnley to start with. you know the mentality of lower teams in the north get no recognition whatsoever. I think there might be a little bit of residue on that fact, but he's down now playing for a London team. He's scoring goals. He was fantastic last year. I think single-handedly won more than the 6 games that I said he would win for the club, and he started again this season. There's no reason in the world why he wouldn't be given a look in.
But he's showing, isn't he?
Playing Burnley this weekend.
But he's showing, isn't he, that every time, it doesn't matter what league he's in, put him in front of the goal. And I was saying to you this on Saturday, all Charlie needs to do is stand in front of the goal and he'll get a goal for us. He doesn't need to be anywhere else. And that's what he's best at. In front of the goal, he'll put them away.
Right, but you're looking at a situation as far as Queen's Park Rangers is concerned.
Yeah.
The question was international football.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that we don't know that until it's tested in international football.
Yeah, but what I was going to say without you interrupting me was against Chelsea, he scored a goal that if that was Messi or Ronaldo, a little inside of the foot flick into the far corner, you know, which he meant.
Yeah.
And I read some of the newspapers, somebody said it was lucky. My goodness.
What about the goal he scored against Southampton the other
Yeah, the one up on the volley.
That for me is as good a goal as you'll see this year.
Yeah, well, no, I think Pele
Pelé's at the other end.
A minute later.
was a bit tasty, wasn't it? But no, but you're right. He's a proven goal scorer. He's doing it at the highest level now, and why shouldn't the lad get a chance?
Long may it continue.
And that flick against Chelsea, like you say, it wasn't like it just showed complete awareness of what was going on behind him.
Yeah, and I can tell you, as a goal scorer, that great goal scorers, and don't misunderstand me. I'm not putting Charlie in the greatest goal scorers of all time category, but great goal scorers generally don't even need to look at the goal. They know all the time when they're on the move, when they're coming short at the edge of the box, when they spin. They know where the goal is, roughly know where the goal is. So if they're going to knock the ball in the corner, they're going to be a foot either way, the very best. And he's one of those, he knows where the goal is.
I know you've always been a fan of Charlie Austin, but are you surprised by how well he's taken to life in the top flight? 5 in 9 is pretty sensational.
It's good, it's very good, especially as he missed a penalty as well. But am I suppose I am really, because I've never seen it. I hadn't seen him outside of the lower divisions, and the goals he scored at the highest level, he's scoring. He's not mugs. He's scoring against. He's scoring against great defenders. So more power to the lad. Yeah, I'm a big fan.
And I would imagine with each goal that flies in, it's probably making him a better player because he's probably having more and more belief in what he can do and what he can achieve.
Yeah, but that's right. But the other side of that coin is. When he plays alongside another forward, I think it gives him the opportunity to not be marked out the game by two central defenders. And when Zamora has played, from my point of view, and there's a ball goes into the box, Zamora is a unit. He's a bit of a unit. So I think that's a plus. I think it's a plus for Charlie.
Yeah, it does seem to suit him better, his style, because when he's the lone striker, a lot of times he's got his back to goal.
Well, that's right, but you also, when you're the lone striker, having played there myself, I used to hate that role. Good defenders will put one in front and one behind. So it's not only is it hard to get the ball over the top, it's also hard to go and get the ball short, and you need fantastic service. And when you're down the bottom of the league, the fact that he scored 5 goals at the bottom of the league, I think is sensational.
Okay, our topic of debate this week has been, and there's been plenty of interest from Ars fans on social media. What we've been asking is, after 3 improved displays, describe your current mood to QPR in 3 words. And there's been plenty of responses. We can work our way through a few of those. Ross Winter, signs are positive. This is all in relation to the recent turn of form and the last 3 results. Okay, Mark Hillman, mighty will rise. I like that, Mark. Very good. Emma Wardle, turned the corner. Rodney, would you agree with that we've turned a corner after the last 3?
No.
You're bringing us back down to earth?
No.
Because the points haven't.
You know, again, Ian and I were having a quick chat beforehand, and it's very easy to have a knee-jerk reaction and get carried away. But if ours continue on the run that they've been for the first 10 games, and take those 10 games and then protract that out, you end up with just under 28 points. 28 points is going to be 10 short. So, not turn the corner yet. If in the next 10 games, ours get, let's say, out of 10, that's 30. Let's say ours get 14 points. Not undoable. That's very, very doable. You're then on 21, 20 games gone, 18 to go. And you're right in, you're right back in it. So the next 10 games obviously are going to, and some of them are not too difficult games, all things being equal. So I fully expect ours to get 13, 14, 15 points out of the next 10 games.
Interesting. I think we'd all certainly take that.
Yeah.
What would you say, okay, if you separate the 10 into almost the 7 and the last 3, there does seem to have been a shift in terms of our tactical approach to games. We seem to be being more direct, if you like.
Yeah, I think how long have I been over here? I've been over here 3.5 weeks now. The goal against Aston Villa, the first goal against Aston Villa, when the ball's launched 60 yards in the air, Zamora, as I said, a big old unit, he upsets people. You know, he upsets defenders, and I like that. I like that about forward players. He wins the ball. Charlie straight on it, fantastic strike, goal. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, people say about, you know, it's the long ball game and it's direct football. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, Aston Villa wouldn't have gone away from that game on the coach going back or however they travel. Probably jet today, isn't it? But they won't go back home to Aston Villa saying, "Cool, we played great. Our passing was fantastic." The only thing they'll be talking about is they've lost 3 points. Yeah. It doesn't matter how you get them in the modern game, and pretty much always, it doesn't matter how you get the points, especially when you're down the bottom. Just get the points, and if it means launching it and you get a goal out of it, go ahead and launch it.
I wouldn't imagine too many Crystal Palace fans were complaining last season when Tony Pulis came in, comparing Tony Pulis to Harry Redknapp, but in terms of the more direct style, and they ended up finishing 11th.
That's right. But having said that, you know, some of the football played in that game against Aston Villa, ours played some in spells.
Yes.
Like
look at the second goal.
In fire, exactly. Yeah. Mind you, that was a diabolical mistake by Sanchez. The Aston Villa. I mean, what's he thinking?
But and it's probably been overlooked because Charlie's finish was so good against Chelsea. But the build-up, we broke from deep an hour and a half. Vargas got the ball, and then Charlie's chest.
He started and finished, didn't he?
Into his path, and then he got the shot away. Was very good football, and that was maybe forgotten about because Charlie obviously took the goal so well with that lovely flick from Leroy's miss hit. But I think we have shown in the last couple of weeks that we can go direct, but also when the likes of Fair and Sandro and Vargas especially get on the ball, we can play the nicer side of the game as well.
Do you know the great thing about direct football? Is first of all, you have to have a Zamora. You have to have that player. Yeah. It's no good trying to play direct football without a player like him, right? In my opinion. And secondly, what people don't talk about is when you launch a 60-yard ball up, and you're aiming for a player. That's not lumping it. That's a long pass.
Yeah.
You know, if you can pass the ball long over 60 yards and it goes to Zamora.
That's a good pass.
That's a good pass. It's a good tactic. And what it does as well, guys, when the ball goes long and their midfield players are pushing in, right, and suddenly the ball's launched over there and they have to go, oh no, they've got to turn and get back again, and that keeps happening. What that happens in the end is those midfield players now expect the ball long, they drop off, and that's when you get it in midfield and you start to play.
There's plenty on here, Paul.
I should be a coach.
Richard Harahan says gutsy, flair, optimistic. Roger Newman says more points, please. Sam Wilson says proud, optimistic, satisfied. Gia Schonberg says we've got hope back. Edwin AJ Mills says things are looking up. So fairly positive. I can't find the one on here that talked about Yoon Suk Yeon. Oh, there we go. Steve Patrick. Always pick Yoon. And we had a conversation. You asked me upstairs who's my player of the year so far, and I found it difficult because it does feel as though it's been a little bit of a disjointed start to the season. But certainly, if you're going over the course of the last 3 weeks, Yoon will be right up there. He's made an incredible impact at left back.
You know what he does? I saw him play the last home game. What he does everything simple. Yeah. It doesn't, you know, in the modern game, I think it becomes easy to overcomplicate with the drag back between your legs, and they're all doing it, aren't they? All defenders are doing it now. You see, they drag it inside, and you know, he does everything simple. If he gets closed down, he knocks a chip ball long. Yeah. If he doesn't get closed down, he looks up. If the short pass is not on, he comes across and starts and goes out again. He just is a simple base player, and that's what you want.
He's a calm, assured figure when, especially in the Premier League, it's played at such a fast pace. But whenever he's on the ball, he seems to bring it down to his pace, which is an art, really.
Well, it's for a defender.
Yeah, very much so.
The big thing is this weekend. he's playing against one of the most direct players in football, and that's Navas. If Navas is playing,
Yeah.
and it'll be 1 against 1 a lot of the time. So he's going to need protection from the left-sided midfield player because Navas can be a bit of a handful. Can be a bit of a handful, yeah.
But if you go back to the start of the season and you're saying to people, who do you think will be good, big players for us this season?
Yeah.
And people would have guessed. Not many people would have said Yoon. I doubt many people would have said Carl Henry, and I doubt many people would have said Richard Dunn.
Correct.
But those 3 players have been key in our last 3 performances.
Yeah, that's right. And at the start of the season, I was asked about QPR, and I said Joey Barton and Austin. I thought they would be the 2 big players, and Barton hasn't been at all. He's with his injuries. He's hardly
had the opportunity.
He's not only hasn't had the opportunity. When he was fit early on, the team was having a bit of a disastrous start. So Carl Henry comes in. He looks good. Now, what's going to happen this weekend with the changes? Joey Barton's fit again. What's going to happen there? Who's going to be the one that's going to be?
It'd be very interesting. It'd be interesting to see what Harry does.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be very difficult for him, wouldn't it, to make too many changes to that starting 11 at Chelsea?
Well, you see, it would be, because if you look at, we were talking again. Ian and I were talking about.
You two had a right.
Yeah, we did. It was good. He was briefing me. When you look at the big picture of football, you have to make. And Harry Redknapp knows this. He doesn't need me telling him this. You have to make decisions that are not going to come back to haunt you, not only from a football standpoint, but from a team spirit standpoint. If you've got a player that's playing great, and he knows he's playing great, and you've had a wonky start to the season, player A comes into the team, he's playing well, and his team starts to turn around. If he gets dumped onto the bench, depending on the player, his attitude might go right down the toilet. And I've seen that happen in football a lot.
Because that's the one thing with this current squad, and people say, well, you're the PR man, you've got to say stuff like this, but the spirit within the group, regardless of results so far,
it looks real.
It is real. It stems back from last season, I think, when the band of brothers that was created when we got promoted, but that has stayed, and there's a real gel between the squad that everybody, I think Joey's openly said in his programme notes this week, first things first, before he starts talking about QPR, he needs to get back in the team first, and he knows that'll be a challenge because Carl Henry's done well, Sandro in the last 2 games where he's played the full 90 minutes has done well. So there's a good competition, but it's a healthy competition as well.
And what I found interesting was we had Charlie Austin on the show last week. At the end of the show, when the cameras were turned off, he suddenly started talking about how unbelievable the character and the spirit in the dressing room is, with no cameras on, just chatting. And you think, like you say, it does. It feels very, very real. And it's going to be a huge challenge.
You played in sides.
Sure,
I mean, 67, you must have had some spirit to be. You're 2-0 down, you win 3-2. But we spoke to Andy Sinton last week, and he said that the spirit within the QPR dressing room at his time here was as good as he's ever been in any dressing room in football. It is key, isn't it? Especially if you are going to be in a battle to stay up.
Well, yes, but at QPR, I had both ends of the spectrum. We had a team in 66, 67, 68, 69 that was incredible football, fantastic results, winning things, winning trophies, and out of nowhere, from nowhere, as an old 3rd division team, suddenly we've gone from like 4,000 to like 17,000 people. So that feeds on itself, right? I've also been part of teams, and QPR was one, that struggled in relegation, right? And I can tell you something now, and Harry knows this, and if you don't know it, you will know it. When it gets to, in the modern game, when it gets to Christmas time, and you're bottom of the league, or you're second from bottom of the league, and you're struggling, and you're giving up goals, and you're not winning, that's when the agents come into their players, and they say, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Especially in modern day football.
Modern day football. What we're going to do at the end of the season? Do you want to get away? Do you want me to start making phone calls? So then your team and not all of the players, of course. Some of the players then they start to look. If we get relegated, can I get so and so?
That's my next move.
And when that happens, that can quickly go like that.
It's actually very interesting because Clint Hill in the next edition of The Insider out in November, free of charge to download, said in his interview with the magazine that that is exactly what happened in the season we did suffer relegation. He said he could see it in the final few months. People were pulling out of challenges. He said because they knew full well they weren't going to be here next year anyway. So
it's a sad thing.
I think we've experienced it.
It is the modern day game. And I'll tell you one thing as well, guys. That phrase, the modern game, in the modern game, we're hearing that more and more and more because it's completely different now than it was
when
I
was. Does that sadden
played.
you? I know you work in football now and as a pundit and what have you. Does it sadden you how the game has gone like that?
Well,
the agents are so powerful now?
I'm pretty much retired now and live in America most of the time. But my heart and my love is football. I love football. And I'll never change. In 10, 15, 20 years, if I'm still alive, I'll still be coming and watching games down here. I'll still be watching, because I love the game. But in the modern game, it is so completely upside down where, Yaya Toure last year was talking about, his agent said, well, he didn't get a birthday cake and that upset him. Are you kidding me? Can you imagine Mark Lazarus saying, I didn't get a birthday? Frank Sibley, I didn't get a birthday cake. So.
What about you, though? If you hadn't got
we
one?
don't give out birthday cakes here.
Well, I always got a birthday cake.
Rodney, would you have wanted to play in today's game? I mean, you
I wanted to play forever.
Yeah, but no, I mean, given the chance, you played in the 60s and the 70s, would you want to now, given that up and now instead play in this game?
I wouldn't change my career for anything, but the special, the nature of the way that I played at the time that I played, and the violence in the game. I used to like the violence.
But do you think you'd have been able to have even more of an impact on the game? Because one, the pitches would have been on your side, and two, you'd have been far more protected than you were.
Yeah, I do see that, but the way I look, there were times in I'll give you a great example. I'll give you a fantastic example. QPR played away to Scunthorpe. I think it was 67, 68 season. And we're playing away, and it's 0-0. I can't remember the score at the time, but I remember this incident vividly. A ball goes through the middle, and the centre forward went, and it was muddy. Their centre forward went up for a header with Frank Sibley, and he went like that, and he went whack, and he opened a cut over Frank Sibley's eye, and Frank already endorsed this. It must have been 3 inches wide. It was like wide and deep, right? And Frank Sibley went and wiped all the mud through the cup. And I went, Frank, there's blood, it was claret everywhere, right? And he would go, Frank, and he went, no, it'll be all right, I said, no, it won't be all right, Frank, get the trainer on. He went, no, I don't need the trainer. And he carried on playing. Yeah. Now today, they get half a brush to the face, like the Bensecchi incident with the touch, and it's like, oh no, I'm dead. The way that the players grab older players around the throat and drag them to the ground on corner kicks. Now, if that was me, and there's a lot of boys out there that played with me at the same time, I would actually take your head off. If somebody grabbed hold of my throat from a corner, I'd just go whack and let the chips fall where they may.
Didn't you get sent off for something not too dissimilar to that?
Yeah.
Someone had a kick out and you just turned and dead.
Yeah, it was here. It's in a pre-season game with friendly game with Glasgow Rangers. Friendly. Yeah, I punched one guy and battered another guy because they, it was retaliation. I never started anything as a footballer. Well, that's not true. But
Rarely.
Thank you. It was more that I got frustrated, and if somebody grabbed me around the throat today, I'd be sent off all the time. I hate that.
Yeah.
I think
they get away with it.
Despicable.
That's the trouble.
A few of the QPR players were probably a bit disappointed that was the deciding factor, if you like, in a pulsating game at Stamford Bridge. And after the match, a few of them spoke in the mix zone, and we heard what they had to say.
London
well, disappointed that we got a penalty against. A bit harsh, but I didn't see the clip, so I can't say if it's a penalty or not. But at the end, I think we deserved the point, and we played really good in the second half with a good goal from Charlie. So I think we deserved a point.
Yeah, slightly. I mean, we obviously always want to win games, but we're pleased that we're getting things right a bit more defensively. We're conceding less goals just about, and we hope to get more clean sheets. That's something we're aiming to do now, and obviously get more points on the board. So it's still disappointing today, but there's a lot more positives to take from it than obviously previous away games.
Everyone is disappointed because we came here and did well, deserved to draw or to win, but like a team we play very well, especially in the defend and the goalkeeper. Is a little bit sad for everyone, but we found a way. I think we got good performance against big clubs, so we need to keep this up to stay up.
For Corker and Sandro, they're speaking post-Chelsea, and I think it probably shows how far we have come in recent weeks, that after playing at the league leaders against Chelsea, we've come away disappointed not to have got something from the game.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, it felt like, I don't know, it felt like a morale boosting performance though, didn't it? The way the players all stood up to be counted. It didn't feel as though it was first against, what were we, 19s going into the game. It felt like we were a lot closer to them, and I think the biggest thing you can say is that 3,100 QPR fans were there. Every one of them stayed to the end, and every one of them were on their feet cheering the players at the full-time whistle. We just lost the derby. It sounds stupid to say that, but I think the fans appreciated what the players put in, and vice versa, because I thought the supporters were absolutely excellent on the day.
Yeah, how do you, during your time, and obviously you were a fan's favourite, but QPR fans have always said we don't expect to win every game. We do expect 100% effort. And against Chelsea and against Liverpool, both games we lost, at the end, the Ars players came off to a standing ovation from the QPR fans.
What's your question? What's your point?
Can we edit this bit out?
Definitely keep it in.
The point is that I wouldn't imagine all football fans are like that, in the QPR fans don't expect to win every game, they just expect that effort, and they will recognise it if that is the case.
If you want me to talk about Queen's Park Rangers fans, it's an easy subject for me, because I think that QPR have got, I don't know, 17,000, and it's a cult. And whether they moan or whether they don't moan, or whether they cheer or whether they don't cheer, and whether winning or losing, 17,000 are going to be there.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And you don't get that with other clubs. Other clubs go from 35,000 down to 26 in bad times. You look at Chelsea. Chelsea went down to 8,000. Yeah. Right? The Ars fans, whether it's in the Championship or playing against Manchester United, there'll be 15, 16, 17, and so on, because there's a hardcore of fans that are just around the world. I go to New York sometimes, and I'll be in New York, and I'll be walking through the airport, and somebody will go, "Oh, Rodney, I'm a QPR fan." They're all over the world. QPR fans are everywhere. You can't get away from them.
I think they said to me before that they're a knowledgeable bunch as well.
Well, yeah, but the history of this football club is, in my opinion, is completely unique in the modern game. Because how many other teams, when you go back to Jim Gregory days, in the old 3rd Division South, right? One stand, 3 sides, no stand, and then go on and win the 3rd Division and the League Cup fight, win the double. That doesn't happen, and a lot of that is carried down through the years, from generation to generation to generation, and the history is very rich.
Just while we're touching on the fans, and I know we'll go back to talking about Man City later on, we talked about it earlier. 5:30 kickoff under the lights.
Yeah.
How special and how important will that atmosphere be? Because we've seen it in the past. Liverpool, when we were last in the Premier League, 2-0 down on a night game here, we come back and win 3-2. We lost 3-2 here to City in a tea-time kickoff, but we gave them a massive scare. How big a role can the fans play, especially under the lights?
Fans can always play a big role, no matter what. I used to love playing here at Loftus Road in front on a Tuesday night. I used to love it when it was and the rain and you know, you're a little bit cold and you come in. I used to walk on the pitch and all the fans were going, run, yeah. I used to walk onto the pitch and I used to feel 10 foot tall. It was like, I know people are going to get the ump over this, but I felt that there was 21 extras on the field that were all there
for your show,
for my show. I used to love being here on a Tuesday, on a wet Tuesday night under the lights. Brilliant.
The Villa game was a prime example, wasn't it? And I think we all discussed in the office afterwards that the only time we'd really felt that atmosphere was probably the Wigan game previously under the lights. And there's just something special about Loftus Road.
Yeah,
I mean, it probably helps that most of our fans can get into the pub at 12 o'clock and have a few sherbets before they come, and then everybody's buzzing by the time they get it for 5:30.
Yeah, it does make
special.
It special.
But I remember those games, Rodney, when you were playing and the fans. You know, always for me, if you were playing, that for me was the icing on the cake for the game, and all the fans when they were cheering your name.
Brian, I was always playing.
But you're right, it's iconic figures, isn't it? You know, Paul reads the teams out on the match day, and as soon as you hear Charlie's name announced, the song starts.
Absolutely, and the fans need that.
Absolutely right. And he's fantastic because he is the catalyst for that, and that's what the game is all about. You know, you have a generation comes and the next generation comes, and I love it, the fact that we now have another one of those players that the fans love to watch.
Okay, and while we're talking about the fans, now this won't become a common feature here on London Calling, but after the game at Stamford Bridge, Chelsea boss Jose Mourinho made some interesting points both about QPR's performance and their own supporters. Be interesting to hear this.
We were playing against a very well organised defensive team, where I think everybody knew clearly the job they had to do. Everybody was closing. The wingers were chasing the fullbacks all the way. The fullbacks were going man to man. The midfield players, they changed the system to play here, and they try to play 3 against 3 in the middle. Fantastic work by Harry to organize his team defensively. The man responsible for the lights was in the same mood as the crowd because everybody was sleeping. You know, so probably he was also in that. So it took 20 minutes to understand that it was dark. But I took 30 minutes to understand that the stadium was not empty. When we scored was when I realized, wow, the stadium is full, it's so good.
Okay, some amusing comments there from Jose Mourinho, but interesting what he's saying about Harry Redknapp and how organised he had the QPR team against Chelsea and how effective that was, and almost got to the point.
Yeah, what's your question?
We'll edit that out as well.
So it shows how stupid we are. We never question you.
I know. I've just been flying below the radar for years. We've just got to make a mental note. We can't invite Rodney back. He hangs me out to dry.
Without a question. Unless you ask me a question.
Are you saying tactically?
Tactically,
what did we do right?
Precisely that.
Oh, okay.
That's the question.
He can be my translator.
Well, my throwback would be to what he said, to what Mourinho said. Why wouldn't you organise your team to play against Chelsea and play a certain system to stop them from playing? They've got great players all over the pitch. They have a record that's second to none.
But I would imagine a lot of people have tried, but not everyone has been as effective.
And that's been the accusation with QPR a lot so far this season, is that they didn't, as United, Tottenham, it didn't appear to be a game plan. We stood off them too much. Penny seems to have dropped in the last. Southampton, there was a gradual improvement. West Ham was disappointing, but Liverpool, Villa, and
don't you
Chelsea,
think our fitness has improved
tactically,
as well?
Fitness?
Yes. Because we weren't fit. It took a long time for us.
The question I would have is maybe this is an inappropriate question, but I'll ask it anyway. You can edit it out. is what part of that does Glenn Hoddle play? Because my understanding when he came to the club as a coach that he was going to organise the back players, in a system that would suit the players at QPR. So maybe Glenn Hoddle's effect. Jose Mourinho's talking about the way that the team played. Maybe Glenn Hoddle has an effect on that. I don't know.
I think it's been a gradual influence, hasn't it? It's obviously difficult for somebody to come in and make a huge impact straight away, but I think there's been a gradual influence. I know that I was at the training ground last Thursday, and the coaching team were on the training pitch for what seemed almost well in excess of an hour after the players had actually left the training ground, just talking and going over things. And I don't want to say the pennies dropped, that's the wrong phrase, but there seems to be a far better tactical nous about our performances in the last few weeks.
Yeah, perhaps the approach has changed. Also, in the lead up to Saturday's game against Manchester City, in Harry Redknapp's programme notes, he spoke about the QPR fans at Stamford Bridge. He said the fans were fantastic. They really got behind the team. I can't tell you how proud I was of the supporters. They made more noise than Chelsea's 30-odd thousand. The players and I would really like to thank them for their fantastic support. To even draw praise from Jose Mourinho was incredible. He said to me after the game, "You have got amazing supporters. The fans are going to be the difference for us this year. If they stay with us, we'll stay up. That's how I see it." Is their role as big as that? Question mark?
Yes. You see, I like somebody that learns. That's are the fans going to make an influence? Yeah, absolutely. You don't survive without the fans being completely behind you, and I see that. I see the Ars fans as being behind the team, and as you said earlier about the 100%. If all the players are pulling in the same direction and they're all trying to do the same things and they're giving it everything, and you come up short, that's one thing, and I think the Ars fans will be behind them as long as that continues.
Would you not have liked to have done management?
No, because first of all, I wouldn't want to move back to England full time. When I was working for Sky and TalkSport for all those years, those like 15, 16 years, it was because I could go back to America every 6 weeks. Right. And I spend 6 weeks here and a month over there, and I kept, and that's what I did. I couldn't live in England year round. Okay,
aside from the geographical reasoning, would you have gone into management otherwise?
Given the opportunity at the right football club with the right owner, sorry about coughing during the interview. My apologies. Given all that, I think that it would be possible given those conditions that the owner was in the same way of thinking as I would be, and the club was and all that. I think I possibly could have done that. Yeah. Would you have been able to manage a Rodney Marsh style player? No. I would have kicked me out. Really? No, I would have done, and I've been sacked everywhere I've been. You're not going to sack me from this interview, right?
If you keep questioning
because people are. It's like when you asked me, you didn't ask me a question, you made a statement, and I didn't know what you were right, and I just tell the truth. I go, what's the question?
Well, yeah, people won't know about that because this will be cut out.
Again, we just keep on cutting it out. It's actually a 3 hour show, folks. So at times I just tell the truth, and I just tell it like it is. And a lot of people don't like that.
Switching matters back to this weekend, obviously you're linked heavily to both clubs, given your excellent careers with QPR and Man City. What are your thoughts ahead of this weekend's game? Good time to play City, a bit of a soft underbelly at the moment, would that be fair?
Good analysis. QPR's my club. I don't make any secret of that. I had 5 great seasons at Man City, loved the club, loved everything about the club, the fans, it was brilliant. But QPR's my club because when I joined the club, we were in the old 3rd division, and when I left, we'd been up to the 1st division, all the glory, 17, 18, 19,000 people winning trophies, and I played for England as a QPR player, so QPR's my club. I want QPR to win on Saturday. I want QPR to beat Man City. fundamentally because I want QPR to stay in the Premier League. And Man City have got so much money that they can afford to change it all in January. They get a whole new 11 players they want to. So, but analysing the game, don't have David Silva. David Silva is one of the best players in the world. Can create goals from nothing. He can do what Sarab doesn't do at the moment. There might be a time when that changes. But you look at David Silva, who's not playing, and he's a big miss for them. Aguero is unstoppable on his day, so he'll be a handful for the two central defenders if that's the way the R's play. Yaya Toure is having an ordinary season by his standards, but he's still a brilliant, brilliant player. So I think in analysing the game, Ian, it's more about can R's stop them from playing and then go on and nick a goal. Rather, I don't think we'll see a game where it's going to be up and down.
Where's their weaknesses in at the minute? I mean, we spoke off camera earlier. In Vincent Kompany have probably got the best centre half probably in the world. But there are weaknesses within that side. Would that be fair to say at the minute? Or not necessarily weaknesses, but they're not performing to the very best of their ability. Yeah,
well put. I would say that there are no weaknesses from a technical and arguably a tactical point of view. I think they've got great players. They've got a great bench. But I tell you the one thing that might upset them a little bit. They get complacent. When they get possession, and they get so much possession, and they knock it and they knock it and they knock it and they give it and they knock it and they don't score. Knock it and knock it and knock it and they don't. But then they knock it and they do score. So the only thing that, from my point of view, would be is complacency. If they're complacent, if they don't respect Rangers,
because they'll come there thinking this is 3 points.
Yeah, they will.
But other clubs have done that over the years
and been upset, gone home with a bloody nose, and that's what football's all about. You know, you kick and bite, as we used to say in the old days. You know, you go out and you play against better players. You got to take them out, and you got to upset them, and you got to, there's nothing wrong with winning ugly and frustrating people and doing the ugly things in football.
Do you think our tactics has to be then get in their faces, win your first tackles, and then get the crowd going, and then all of a sudden you might see a positive Rangers performance?
I said something at the start. I said something at the start of the season, which I stick to, and that is at the start of the season. Rangers were terrible, were dreadful on dead ball situations at both ends of the pitch. Corners were poor, free kicks were poor. Defensively, first goal of the season from a corner kick against comes in, Rio loses his man, goal. Next game, conceding free kicks, and they got better on that. Got much better on dead ball situations. I don't know if you noticed that last couple of games. Right? Now not giving up a lot of opportunities from corner kicks and free kicks. And then at the other end, they're looking more dangerous. So that's very, very much a positive. Wouldn't surprise me if Rangers nick a goal from a dead ball Saturday. Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Fingers crossed. Right, I think we're just about out of time. You've been watching London Calling. 100% thanks to Ian and Brian, and 40% thanks to Rodney Marsh. Thanks for joining us on London Calling. We'll be back next week.